Hi, I'm Katie Ayres with the Medicine Hat SPCA for critter care. This time we're focusing on the care of puppies. We have our Medicine Hat SPCA puppies here today, Mel and Norman, and they're going to be showing us all about how to take care of puppies. We'll be right back after this. So welcome back. We're here at the Cypress View Veterinary Clinic again with Dr. Storch, and we're going to be talking about dental care today. So do you want to tell us a little bit about why it is so important to stay on top of dental care, starting with when your dog is at a puppy age?
Absolutely. It's very important. Dental care is important in animals, just as important as it is in us humans. It's important to start, getting to know your dog's mouth, your puppy's mouth, and getting them used to having your hands in their mouth. Mm-hmm. The gold standard for dental care is brushing their teeth, mm-hmm. but I completely understand that we have busy lives and sometimes our dogs just don't allow us to do it. Mm-hmm. And so there are a lot of other things that we can give them to help with their oral health. Mm-hmm. As a puppy, though, it's a unique opportunity to start getting used to brushing their teeth, mm-hmm. and to have them, allow you to do that. There's other things, too, that we have to consider with puppies in that they have baby teeth. Right. And sometimes those baby teeth don't fall out properly. Yeah. And just like with people, if those baby teeth are still there, it can damage those adult teeth. And right. So it's important when you come in for your vet appointments to talk about dental care as mm-hmm. well.
Okay, and you mentioned brushing teeth. I know I've seen all sorts of things out there. So there's dental food, there's different chews that they can mm-hmm. chew on to help. There's the actual brushes that look more like toothbrushes, and then there's those little ones that you can put on your finger, mm-hmm. and they can have some pretty awesome flavored toothpastes, like mm-hmm. beef and peanut butter. So that stuff will probably help them a little bit to get used to having, your fingers in their mouth and brushing. So what will happen if basically you ignore their dental health? Mm-hmm. What's worst case scenario? What do you see when they're coming in and they're 10 years old?
Yeah, absolutely. We see it a lot. What we tend to see is a fair amount of periodontal disease, so mm-hmm. disease within the gums as well as on the crown of the tooth. So the mm-hmm. crown is the pearly white part you can see on their right. teeth. And so in dogs, they get their tartar buildup, and then that buildup has bacteria in it. And what happens after is different minerals like calcium comes in, and it creates something we call calculus. Mm. And calculus is a hard tartar on their teeth that we can't get off unless we crack it off. So we do see where dogs are losing teeth and have abscesses in their teeth. Mm-hmm. And the thing about dogs is they're so amazing. They're so stoic that they'll still eat, they'll still drink.
You don't even know they're in pain.
They don't even really act like they're in pain. Yeah. But some of the things we notice and owners have noticed once we've cared for their teeth as adults, and that could include removal of teeth mm-hmm. or even just cleaning the tartar buildup and getting rid of the bacteria, is a lot of the time they say, oh, well, they're like a puppy again. Yeah. They have that energy level again. We had someone say, well, their ears have been perky and they've been more interactive. And so those are the types of things that can indicate pain as well in a dog, which, as you can see, is really difficult to detect. So it's very important to start caring for their teeth. And some dogs are going to be prone to tartar buildup, mm-hmm. especially our small breed dogs, which have crowded teeth. Mm-hmm. And so it's also important that they do get regular dental cleanings, mm-hmm. because that's where we're going to get above the gum line and get rid of that bacteria and avoid having to have teeth removed in the future. And our whole goal with doing dental care at home is to reduce the amount of dentals that they need in the future, because as they get older, just like us, we go in to get our teeth cleaned every 6 months to a year, and dogs sometimes need it yearly or sometimes need it every 6 months. And if you're very lucky, sometimes they don't even need it at all, mm-hmm. right? But that's pretty rare.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
Now, you also mentioned the tartar buildup, and I'm just thinking about when you have that much bacteria in your mouth, you're swallowing it. So is there some risk to also, just as they're aging, what that might be doing to their organs? Is there some damage that's done there?
It is one of those things that we do discuss with owners, in that it's like you say, they're going to be constantly swallowing that bacteria, that tartar that breaks off, that calculus that breaks off. And there have been cases, and it's actually more common than we'd like to admit, where it goes to the heart muscle and then it breeds on that heart muscle and can cause issues with the heart and can affect other systems and organs. And so it's not only a threat to their mouth, but it is a threat systemically as well.
And I sure know when I have a painful tooth, how much that affects my personality. It'll make me much more moody, or until I can get into the dentist and get it fixed. So I can't imagine, living for years, as some animals do, with a broken tooth or an abscess or something that we're not noticing. So thank you for telling us about why it's so important to make sure that you're checking your animal's teeth, you're getting them used to being brushed, and that you're talking to your vet about dental care from a young age.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're at Sit, Stay, Come and Play today with Cheryl-Ann, who is the owner, and she is going to be talking to us about puppy socialization and training and the importance of it. We also have Rocket here, and he is a 9-week-old pup, border collie pup, and he's going to be our little demo puppy. He'll be tough to get his attention because at this age they're pretty all over the place, as you can see. Easy to distract though, which is good. So Cheryl-Ann, we just wanted to talk about when someone is adopting a puppy for the first time, they're usually getting them anywhere from 6 weeks to 10 weeks of age, whether it's from the SPCA or from a breeder, whatever it might be. Can you tell us a little bit about what socialization is and why it's so important?
So with puppies, there's a critical window of socialization that starts at about 3 weeks and goes to about 3 months. It could go up to as much as 5 months, but by then that window is probably closed. So during that time, you need to socialize your puppy to just about anything you can think of. It's not just other dogs, it's not just people. It's things they're going to run across in their lifetime. Right. So it might be sounds, thunder, cars going by, whatever. And you can do that with using CDs and play them in the house so that the dog gets used to hearing these things, so when it happens for real, they're not afraid of it. Things with wheels, bicycles, cars, wheelchairs. And when we talk about people, it could be people wearing costumes. It could be a tall man with a deep voice. So as many different people as you can get them around. One of the other things that's really important that you should start probably the day you get your puppy is handling. Right. So
how would you do handling with a puppy of this size? What are some things that you might do?
Let me borrow this puppy. So one thing that most puppies really don't like is having their paws touched. Right. He does not seem to mind at all. So it's like everywhere. You want to be able to rub their belly, but you have to make it a happy thing, so that you don't increase their fear of those kinds of things. So you may need a treat. He does not care about anything.
But if he was nervous, if he was yanking his paws back a lot, what might you do?
Yeah, and I would have either a toy or treats or something so that when I touch his paw, if he didn't like it, then I'd give him a treat.
So it's something positive.
So that the experience is always positive. You want to try? He's your puppy.
So you also mentioned different people. So it could be children. I know I've seen, certainly having had lots of different puppies over the years, sometimes they'll react differently to men. I was telling you a bit earlier that I have a dog that when she was a puppy, she reacted really strongly to someone who was in a wheelchair. So helping them, and I think it's something new and it's scary. And so what would you do, so say in a case like that, we were walking on the street and we came across a person that was in a wheelchair and she was really, really scared. She started walking backwards and barking. What would you suggest I would do in that case?
I would use distance. Distance is probably the best thing. Back your dog off so that they are comfortable and reward them for being relaxed.
Okay.
So you would want to, if your first encounter, you would want it to be fairly far away. If the person in the wheelchair is amenable to it, then you could have them stop and just let your dog go at its own speed, go up, sniff the wheelchair, whatever. It's really important not to ever force your dog into a situation that makes them nervous, because you can do more harm than good.
I think that's key, and we see that a lot too at the shelter, where perhaps some of the animals have come in and they have some fears that they've developed, and it could very well be because at a younger age they were forced into being socialized into a situation where they really needed some more space first, and perhaps they needed to create that positive association. So it could be with children, it could be with older people, it could be with people with disabilities that might be in a wheelchair or a walker or a cane, just something that's different perhaps that they might react to. And it could be, like you said, cars passing them by outside, so they need to create those positive associations with the things that are making them nervous.
Yes.
So it sounds like going slow is really important,
Very
giving them
important.
some distance. Choosing something like a treat or a toy, whatever it is that they get some pleasure from.
Yeah, it's whatever the dog finds rewarding.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Right now he just wants to chew on everything because he's a puppy and teething, right?
And we're seeing a lot of fairly reactive dogs coming into our classes. And a lot of them are adopted dogs, rescue dogs, because they weren't properly socialized. It's not a lost cause, but it takes a lot longer when they're older.
Yeah, it takes a bit more commitment from the owner as well to be able to.
does.
And we're going to go and talk with an owner with a dog that's a bit more fearful as well. And we're going to talk about what to do in those situations.
Yes.
Awesome. Welcome back. We're here at Sit, Stay, Come and Play with Cheryl-Ann and Ryan, who are both trainers here, and Connie and her dog, Zena. And Zena has a little bit of issues, some issues with her levels of confidence. She's not as confident as some other dogs, and a little fearful, especially of new situations, new people, and new objects. So we're just going to do a demo here today. And Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about what Cheryl-Ann and Zena and Connie are doing right now?
So generally with fearful dogs, we want to be patient, okay? And we want to take things slow. And we also want to make the dog think. So what we're doing is we're going to introduce Zena to the tunnel, okay? So this is new for her, and we're going to take it slow. We're going to keep it positive, and we're going to have some fun with this. So let's give this a try.
So she's a bit nervous right now.
She's
yeah.
nervous. Yep, she doesn't know. And we're going to take it slow and let her think about what to do. Because right now her mind is racing. She's thinking.
She's showing some calming signals. She's licking her lips a little
Yep.
bit.
And we've keeping it positive, and we give treats, and we use the clicker. And
Awesome.
then that's a great way to do this.
So let's try this again. See if there's any difference. And you know, she's trying to be close to mom because that's who she's comfortable with.
So again, keeping it positive, keeping it slow,
So you can see this time she
using
didn't-
a clicker
Yeah.
and a treat, and these work.
And she didn't hesitate as much this time.
No.
Okay, so they made the tunnel a bit bigger. Oh, look, she went right in that time.
And-
That was really quick. You can see
Yeah.
the difference, hey, from when she first started and she was pacing
Absolutely,
and really
yep.
unsure.
Yep.
Awesome. And I guess the other thing too is we're going to show perhaps Zena with a new person. She's met me really briefly, but not for very long. And so if I kind of walk over, she might be a bit nervous of me, but I have really yummy looking cookies in my hand, so we'll see.
And this, we need to, maintain your composure and be calm and use a treat and make it positive. And don't be afraid to talk to the dog in a high-pitched voice. Say hello, give a treat, stay calm, and this is the best way how to introduce yourself to a fearful dog.
So she was sniffing me, just checking me out a little bit, looking to mom. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And that's a really good thing right there. Yeah.
Do you think she would be okay if I tried to pet her at this point? Yeah. Mom says yep.
So when you're introducing yourself to a dog, you don't want to overwhelm the dog. You don't want to hover over them. You want to be preferably by the side, okay? Don't make direct eye contact if you can help it, especially not staring. Be positive, give treats. It's also a good idea if you're going to pet a dog, pet underneath. Some dogs don't like to be patted on the top of the head right off the bat. But yet, there you go.
Yeah. But if I were to make a sudden movement, it could cause her to, again, be more fearful again, because I'm still new. She doesn't totally trust me. She just knows I have really yummy cookies right now.
So right now, you're a pretty safe bet. You're non-threatening, you have treats, and you have a good disposition, so it's
trying not to look her in the eye
good
too much,
environment.
too. Do you know lie down? Oh, you
There.
sure do. What a smarty pants. Good girl. Perfect.
Very good,
Thank you
very
much.
good.
So as we know, training our puppies is very important as they're growing up to their adaptability and ability to deal with a bunch of different situations, to having them behave in ways that we want them to behave ideally. And we have Ryan here from Sit, Stay, Come Play, who's going to tell us a little bit more about how to go about training from puppyhood up to adulthood and what types of things you do in a puppy training class. So when would someone ideally bring their puppy to a training class for the first time, Ryan?
Well, right after 8 weeks. Okay, so as soon as you get your puppy, it's important get the puppy started training. The way we want to train is you want to build a relationship right off the bat. Mm-hmm. So that's building a bond and trust and respect. Mm-hmm. So it's very important for the dog, but it's also important for the health and safety of the dog to teach proper obedience.
Mm-hmm. So you guys run a number of different classes here. If we have, say, a class full of puppies, what kind of things are you working with the puppy and their owner on? What kind of things are they learning?
Well, we want to teach the basics, the sit. Mm-hmm. I'm teaching the dog manners, basically. Yeah. The sit is really important. Coming when called is very important. Yeah. It's important to have a rock solid recall. Yeah. So if you call the puppy, you want the puppy to come. Of course. Lying down, staying, yes. Leaving a treat on the floor. Yeah. Let's say you drop a chicken bone. Yeah. It's important that puppy knows, okay, don't take it.
Right, you could say leave it and they'll actually leave it.
Yes,
yeah.
Yep.
Then we can avoid a visit to the vet, ideally.
Yes.
So you're talking about the basics. So then once they go through kind of the basic training class, sometimes they want to go into an intermediate or an advanced level class. And what types of things would they be learning that are different in those classes?
So what we do is we'll teach the basics too, but we'll add a lot of distractions. Okay? We'll add distance and we'll add distractions. So not only like a dog can sit and stay, but I'll have a squeaky toy, or we'll back up, or we'll run around, or something like that, just to get the dog more engaged and make the dog think a little bit.
Okay, so right now we have Whitney and Houston here that are practicing some obedience training, and they're in an advanced level class. And Houston, do you know how old Houston is? I believe it was 8 to 10 months, somewhere in there? 9 months, yeah, so 9 months old. So he's been doing training for probably a few months at least, by the looks of it. He's quite talented. So this is just an example of some of the things that you could learn in a training class. And of course, you can see his attention is on mom completely. Wow, look at him go, he's impressive.
He's doing really well.
So his attention and his focus is on mom. And what types of situations would you say that this would be particularly important in?
Well, basically, it's really important to have your dog focus on you. Once you have your dog's focus, then you can teach them anything, really. If you know, as you can see here, the dog is very focused on the owner, very engaged, and having fun. That's the important thing about training a dog too as well. You got to make it fun.
And if he was ever in a situation where, say, he got distracted by something right now, something that he really, really loves, like maybe another dog was walking by, that he's been trained to have the focus on his mom, so mom would have a command probably to get his attention, and he's so used to paying attention to her and to focusing on her, because he's being rewarded right now with something that he loves. So it's creating all these really positive associations for him.
And that's the ticket to training, keeping it positive, keeping it fun. You know, we don't train with pain anymore. Training has really come abound. The last 50 years, we understand how dogs think a lot better, and this is how we train for not short-term results, but we train for long-term results. And being positive and having fun, that's what really works.
That's awesome. So on the other side here, we have Nicole with her pup, Summer. Summer is 9 months old and has been through a couple of training classes now, so she's been working on these things for a few months. And you can see that Nicole, or maybe you can hear, but Nicole is using the clicker training method. So Ryan, could you tell us a little bit about clicker training? What is it?
Again, this is the difference between training 50 years ago and how training has changed recently. There's a lot of science behind the clicker training. It's what they use to train dolphins and bears and killer whales and all that. It's an amazing tool to communicate with your dog, to tell your dog that your dog did something right. And then as soon as that dog hears a click, the dog knows they did something right, and guess what? They get a treat. So it's very, very effective.
This is really cool.
It's also great for, let's say, if you have a reactive dog, it's a good tool to calm a dog down. Okay. This also builds confidence, it calms a dog down. They're actually incredible tools. A dog will learn a lot quicker, probably 10 to 20 times quicker. They will learn a cue or learn a behavior with a clicker. And like I said, there's a lot of science behind it. It's been proven, and it's very, very effective.
Cool.
The thing is, you'd have to learn how to do it right.
Yeah,
so
it takes some practice, doesn't it?
The timing has to be right,
yeah.
Okay? It's not a remote control.
Yeah.
You can't point it at the dog and click, 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 and you think your dog is gonna do something. No, you have to have proper timing. As soon as the dog does something right, you click right at that second, and then you give a treat. So the dog knows. It does take a bit of time, but once you get it, it's a very effective tool, especially for like walking.
Yeah.
Learning how to walk a dog, and if you can use a clicker, it really works, and it works really well.
Yeah. Especially if you want them to walk on a loose leash and not always be pulling. A lot of people have that problem.
Yeah. For the dogs that pull, the big ones, the ones that will just pull you across the street, the best way to teach a dog how to walk is using a clicker.
So we are inside of a house, and we are going to be talking about crate training our puppies. And we have about 8-week-old puppies here right now. Crate training is so important to helping them feel like they have a comfortable space in the home, a place that is just theirs that they can go to, and it also helps so much with potty training. And for a puppy this size, so this pup's probably around 10 pounds or so, but only 8 weeks, this is about a perfect size crate for that. Any pet store that you go to, they can help you size your crate for your puppy as well, but ideally you want there to be enough space in there for them to stand up and be able to turn around. With puppies, it's really important that you don't have too much space, because if you have a really big crate for a puppy this size, they will use one side to pee and poop. So for crate training, often at this age you're using it maybe when you're gone for a few hours or at night. This is a good size for that. What I usually start with is having the crate in the space in general, so they can get used to the sight and smell of it, and they will often go in and even explore on their own. If they aren't really seeming to be too curious about exploring, you can take some treats and you can throw them inside the crate, and sometimes when they'll cooperate, they'll go inside and get their cookies. You can feed them their dinner in there. That will help them get used to the crate. You can give them a special bone or treat inside, especially some puppies will be less likely to enjoy the crate than others. And it's just wanting to create, again, a positive association with the crate. So you want them to be comfortable in there. You don't want them to be screaming and screaming. So if they are, then you need to take things back a step and help them just get more used to the presence of the crate, and maybe do things like feed them their dinner in there or let them chew on a nice toy. So this puppy, you can see, is kind of settling down and having a nap. So that's perfect. And this is a really good size. As she gets older, though, because she'll probably be a 50 to 60 pound dog when she's full grown, you will need to upgrade and switch out your crate for a bigger one, probably 2, maybe 3 times even as they get older. There are some crates that you can buy that have dividers, so that when they're younger, you can only let them have access to a part of it, and then as they're older, they can have access to more of the crate. But this way, because they're in such a small space realistically, but still big enough for them, it's not too big that they will likely potty in there. So you shouldn't have an issue with them peeing in there unless you're leaving them in there for too long. So a puppy of this age, you can probably leave them in here for, really depends on the puppy, anywhere from 2 to probably 3 hours before they would need another potty break. And again, as they get older, then they can hold it for longer. And this is one of the best potty training techniques, as well as just, again, letting them have a space that is just theirs, so that if they need a break, if they need a nap, they need to get away from other dogs or kids maybe in the home, then they can kind of escape to their crate. So we really recommend doing crate training with your puppy. So the other reason why crate training is really important is so that you have a place to put your puppy when you leave the home. Because if you leave the home and leave your puppy loose, we're going to have a lot of surprises when you get home. Not only will they likely have gone potty inside the home, but no matter how much we puppy-proof the home, sometimes there's always things that puppies will find. So to puppy-proof your home, though, so that when they are loose, when you're home and able to monitor them, there's a few important things that you want to do. First, you want to pay attention to cords. So any cords that are, with your computer or your television, or your phone charging cord, any of those types of cords for lamps, you want to make sure that they are up and away from the puppy. It can also, of course, cause electrocution, which is really, really dangerous if they decide to chew through something that is perhaps on. So you want to make sure that you kind of crawl around on the floor on your hands and knees and see what could a puppy potentially get into. And you'll find that there's a lot more things than you might think. And it's very similar to having a toddler or a child under 2, basically. So crawl around. Cords is one of the big things. You also, if you have children at home, you want to think about, puppy toys don't look that different from children's toys. So are there certain toys that your children have that they value more than others, and they really would be upset about if a puppy were to chew them? Make sure that the kids know that they need to keep those toys up on top of, say, a dresser, or elevated in some way, so that, or behind a door, so that they're away from puppy. You don't want them chewing their favorite stuffed animal that they sleep with every night, for example. You want to make sure that any kind of wood furniture you have, that if they are showing any interest in chewing the legs of the wooden chairs, you can spray it with a bitter apple spray or a bitter cherry spray. You can buy those at any pet store. And also using distractions. So if they're going to chew for it, go and get their attention, and then give them an appropriate toy or bone to chew on instead of the wooden chair. So those are just some things that you could do to try and puppy-proof and get prepared before you're bringing your new puppy home. And thank you very much for joining us for Critter Care and learning all about puppies. For more information, you can visit www.medhatspca.ca to read all about puppy adoption at the SPCA, as well as just general puppy resources. And please remember to always spay and neuter your pets.